Hello, good day. I like to share my views on the Israel and Hamas war and the impact on gold and Hang Seng. I will take comparison of gold and Hang Seng price action due to Ukraine and Russia war. Let's go. The Israel and Hamas war has escalated and it will be a long and difficult battle. The conflict began on October 7 when Hamas launched an attack against Israel. World shares slipped and oil prices soared Friday on deepening concern over the Israel-Hamas war. I had some thought on what will happen next, so let's hear more from the media as well.
Well, our top story this morning, the Israel Defense Force has confirmed at least 700 Israelis have been killed after Palestinian militant group Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on the country. The IDF warned that the number is expected to rise, with thousands injured. Israel has formally declared war and launched a series of retaliatory airstrikes. The Palestinian Ministry of Health has confirmed 493 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip, with an additional 14 deaths in the West Bank. Speaking on Saturday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed a fierce response.
What happened today was never seen in Israel, and I won't let it happen again. The entire government is behind this decision. The IDF will immediately use all its strength to destroy the capabilities of Hamas. We will defeat them to death and take revenge for this black day they have inflicted on the state of Israel and its citizens.
Juliana and I were discussing, I guess, the immediate question for many people who are watching these events is what potential there is for the actions of the weekend to bring in a broader regional conflict. What is the potential for other actors and other international actors to get involved as well?
Thank you for having me on the show. I think it's early days. We're not quite sure. We know that the head of the Iranian Al-Quds forces is going to meet Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, in Lebanon today. Hezbollah is clearly the main threat to Israel from the north and the northeast, and I think they will calculate very carefully how they're going to play this. I think it's unlikely that there will be a serious attack from the north, and maybe until Israel is deep into Gaza. So, of course, there are many players. Iran has its proxies. Islamic Jihad have declared in Gaza that they have more than 30 hostages. They are linked very closely to Iran. Hamas have declared that they have more than 100. They are linked also to Iran, and we know a lot of the planning and a lot of the knowledge and money and arms have come from Iran. In terms of the north, there's a question mark. I mean, they have various options, and I think there's going to be clearly some attacks like we saw yesterday, but they're going to be very careful about what they do, knowing full well that Israel is going to retaliate in a very, very, very forceful way that may be more than they would like to see. So I think that there's a very cautious note there. But there's no doubt whatsoever that we're in this for the long haul and that there will be serious ramifications for the region. Firstly, the Saudi deal is on hold, and it's going to be on hold for a very, very long time. Secondly, the West Bank is going to have to, we've already seen 14 deaths there in the last 24 hours, so they're not out of the game. And it's a closely tight-knit region, so we are going to see an escalation, but I think the players are going to be fairly cautious about what they do in the initial coming hours and days.
So lots of potential implications that we can speak of. Naomi, there's been plenty of speculation over the weekend as to the extent of Iran's involvement and their participation in the mobilization of Hamas's efforts to surprise attack over the weekend. And it is unclear at this point whether or not it can be pointed back to Iran.
Arabia's immediate priority
I think what it
is
says
to
is quite
seek
relevant
de-escalation,
to
because Saudi Arabia is obviously very much concerned that the conflict currently between Israel and Hamas could metastasize into a broader regional war. So if we see an escalation along Israel's northern border with Hezbollah, and if we see the US being dragged into the conflict, then there is a non-negligible likelihood that other Iranian aligned groups in the region, we've heard threats from groups based in Iraq, or even Iran itself, could seek to target US interests in the Gulf. So the Gulf region normally hosts around 35,000 US troops. You've got the US Fifth Fleet that's stationed in Bahrain, and the US Central Command Forward Headquarters that's based in Qatar. And so I think the immediate priority for Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf states is to de-escalate and to prevent the conflict from essentially becoming a region-wide war. That said, I think as far as Saudi-Israeli normalization is concerned, I think that's very much off the table for now. Saudi Arabia realizes that Arab public opinion, Saudi public opinion, are firmly lined up behind the Palestinians, and the political price that they would pay for normalization amid an ongoing conflict, especially given the uncertainty around Israel's response. We heard Ben.
Next, let's look into the gold price. In my previous video, I am expecting gold to be weakened. However, with the war happens between Israel and Hamas, the condition of weakening gold price has changed. Looking back the Ukraine and Russia war, you can see that gold price surged upwards from March 2022 to May 2022. But it retraced and moved into the second box and stay there for next 6 months. I am expecting a high probability that gold will move above the green line if the war persists for more than a month. Hence, we will have to monitor gold price for next 1 to 2 weeks and observe whether the gold price can stay above the green line.
From insurer to the yellow metal, let's talk gold. Having its best week since March, by the way. Prices rising this week amid the Israel-Hamas war. Investors pushing into the space as a safe haven amid this Hamas war this week. Its best week, yellow metal, let's talk gold. Having its best week since March, by the way.
In that measure of Progressive's results.
All right, from insurer to the yellow metal, let's talk gold. Having its best week since March, by the way. Prices rising this week amid the Israel-Hamas war. Investors pushing into the space as a safe haven amid this conflict. So makes sense, Julie, right? When there is war, there's tension, there's conflict, there is a lot of uncertainty. We were just discussing about whether that conflict broadens with a ground offensive by Israel. Does it drag in Hezbollah, drag in Iran? Just lots of uncertainty. In addition, what that, of course, would mean for oil, the energy markets. When people feel that kind of nervousness, they feel that kind of uncertainty, they look to safe havens and, of course, gold, but it would be one of your go-to moves there.
Yeah, and it's a switch for gold, which had been going back towards 1,800, as we just showed on that chart, and now going up back to the 1,900 level, which is the level that we haven't seen in a little while here. There's that chart that we have seen for the year. So interesting that it dipped down to 18 and then made a pretty rapid move, especially when you consider that gold does not always make that kind of a rapid move. So interesting to see that there. We're also seeing a surge in options trading on the Spider Gold Shares ETF, GLD, right? Implied volatility for options also up the most since March. So another measure, effectively, of interest there. By the way, the move that is happening in gold is not just happening in gold, of course. You're seeing it in other asset classes, too, where investors are looking for safety. You could argue that utilities, which is viewed as a defensive sector, that part of the move there is spurred by that. And then also the move down in yields that we have seen a little bit this week is because people are buying treasuries, which again are seen as, on a relative basis, a safer investment.
And reports noting with that move in gold, by the way, you are breaking through some key technical levels as well, so one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Next, let's look into the Hang Seng price action. In my previous video, I am expecting Hang Seng to strengthen. However, with the war happened between Israel and Hamas, the condition of strengthening Hang Seng has been impacted. Taking comparison to the Ukraine and Russia war, I am projecting that Hang Seng will has a sudden upsurge upwards in less than 5 weeks. If the Israel and Hamas war is going to continue but contained, I am expecting a higher probability that Hang Seng will move above the green box. However, if the Israel and Hamas war spread wider and resulted in more destruction, then Hang Seng may drop below the green line. Next on the instant noodle dividend. I have been closing my options very quickly. As you can see, I have gotten credit of $120 from Coinbase, $70 from Neo, $25 from Russell, $200 from Enphase and $70 from Alibaba. The total credit received is $485. I will be doing another video on the war impact on Straits Time Index. Great if you are watching my video till now. Please like this video and press the subscribe button. It really helps me to create more content. Hope you enjoyed the sharing and learned something new. Thank you.